Thomas King slid out of his car and looked around, satisfied. He looked up from their bedroom window. His wife waved to him in greeting. Meanwhile, inside, a gray-haired but still in good shape older man thrashed about. "Yeah, get under the bed. Damon, he's come in," Anna whispered nervously. "I wonder why he hasn't left." The man glanced fearfully at his mistress, threw his shirt on, and nodded. "You won't be needed again today," Thomas said to the driver. After a minute, he slid the key into the door, and there was a grinding sound. What a nasty sound, and it's a greasy look, he thought, as he walked up the stairs to the second floor. Humming to himself, the tall, brown-haired man with the big blue eyes dug it into the bedroom, and naked Anna already waiting for him in bed. He loved the intimacy with her. She was a skillful and, more importantly, submissive woman in love. She always looked marvelous, sensual, and flexible. "You're back, darling," unexpectedly, pleasantly, quietly whispered his wife. The form was moved, "So, let's have fun, honey." The man threw off his jacket and stepped towards her. "Come to me," whispered Anna. "I crave your caresses." He embraced the beauty and pressed her against him, admiring her magnificent body. "Undress quickly." The hated spouse followed the order and immediately got naked. Afterward, when they, exhausted by love, rested, he said, "How are things with the chief? Still nagging?" he inquired. Anna shuddered and blinked her eyelashes aloud. The man under the bed showered with tension. "Yeah, that's better. Why do you bring him up?" "No reason. It will be better if this macho will watch his daughter. She's out with man, and he's sitting at work, blowing his employees' minds, while his little girl is... What? That's hardly the image of an obedient and innocent daughter." The man under the bed blushed and trembled with rage. "I suspected as much," he thought. "Just saw her, that's all. At the club. He's sweet and full of charm, innocentship." "Sandra?" "Her." "Wait, honey. What were you doing there? With someone too?" Thomas cheerfully jumped off the bed, and after a moment, handed his wife a small velvet box. She looked into it. "My gosh, it's beautiful," she said, admiring the delicate topaz ring. "Am I cleared of suspicion?" Thomas smiled victoriously, caressing his wife's body. "I don't need to look for a mistress. I had the ideal of voluptuousness at home. The chief was at the club with his new young wife. I saw that witch there in the morning. After this girl, I will do whatever you want. You're so sweet, my love. Put your ring on, and let's get on with it. The boss is rarely away on the deal, and the meeting gets cancelled. Come on, so hurry up." Thomas slapped his wife's firm, round buttocks. Anna obeyed. "I was born into a low-income family, and vowed to myself that I will live well. That's why I know how to love men, how they want me to, and that pleases everyone without exception. Thomas will always be mine, just as the old man is Damon's," she thought. Meanwhile, her lover, feeling humiliated by both mistress and daughter, was wiping his wet eyes with his hand. Damon held a picture of Sandra's kissing Anna's husband and a discount card from a lingerie store. They were on the floor when Thomas carelessly tossed his jacket onto a chair. The man already knew what he would do when the king finished making love. Thomas will fall asleep or go to the bathroom. Late in the afternoon, Damon Fisher returned home. Ruth, his wife, was still awake. "What are you doing up so late? Sandra and I have dinner without you," she exhaled. "Where have you been?" "Sorry, I've been busy. I'm not married to you, but to work." The man chuckled. "Maybe you moved to the office to live already." She grinned. "What are you talking about, Ruth?" Damon said indignantly. Don't you want to fulfill your marital duty? The woman smiled invitingly. I always do, darling. You're much better at it than you are at talking business. I've missed you terribly. Liar. Ruth threw off the blanket. I don't care. I waited too long for you. 5 minutes and your husband will be in bed before I shower. Ruth served her husband coffee and sandwiches in the morning with a blissful smile. She was pleased with their intimacy last night. The passive woman lingered in Damon's arms. He reached for her to kiss her, and then his wife voluptuously nipped at his lips. It was a beautiful night, she murmured. If you weren't so emotional, I'd be jealous of your frequent delays. No man has even been born who will refuse to be intimate with you. Fisher lied as usual, stroking his wife's supple back. Ruth was beautiful, a shapely figure, long neck, slender legs. Her cornflower-colored, slightly slant eyes, prominent cheekbones, neat, upturned nose, and thick, long golden hair. No wonder he had once lost his head over her. But the truth was that Damon quickly grew cold to women once he got his hands on her. If Ruth hadn't been Sandra's mother, he would have discovered her long ago. Because of his daughter, he's been playing the role of the ardent husband. He needed to keep Ruth on the short leash to manipulate her. She loved him sincerely. On the other hand, Anna King began to grow cold toward her husband. True, she once thought her love would last forever. They met at the lake. On this day, nature played with the colors of summer. The sun sparkled on the water surface, and a light breeze played with the green leaves of trees, creating an atmospheric atmosphere. Anna, a young and shamelessly beautiful girl, was bathing in cool water, enjoying being one with nature. Her hair scattered on her shoulders, and the sun's rays playing in it. Her delicate skin sparkled from the sun. The girl was full of energy and thirst for adventure, and this day was momentous for her, the beginning of something new and unique. Suddenly, the bushes on the shore stirred, and Thomas came out of them. He was a tall and slender young man, light-eyed and dark-haired. Anna immediately sensed something special about him, an attraction. She stared at the guy frozen in water, their gazes met, and at the moment, they both felt that their destinies were linked. Thomas walked up to Anna and greeted her. Hello? Are you a mermaid? I want to go to swimming, but now I'm afraid. Won't you drag me to the bottom? Well, I'm a friendly mermaid. I don't throw myself at men. I swim here. I don't disturb anyone. Anna laughed. The guy's face lit up with joy. He was beautiful at that moment, confident and seductive. He removed his clothes and entered the water, and his proximity gave the girl goosebumps all over her body. I'm Thomas. I'm Anna. She gave him her hand, and he squeezed it lightly. Yes, the guy was good-looking. Not just handsome, but highly charming. He was instantly likable. His smile was so sincere and appealing that Anna couldn't resist it. They started talking, opening up to each other. After a couple of days, unable to resist their feelings, they became close. They soon realized that had much in common, such as interests and views on life and hobbies. Everything was similar. Over time, their relationship became more profound and more passionate. They spent every free minute together, walking through the woods, enjoying nature and each other's company. Their love was so strong that it seems nothing could separate them. However, as is often the life case, hard times have come. Thomas received a job offer in another city and had to leave. Anna was heartbroken, but she knew they could overcome all difficulties together. The lovers began having long conversation on the phone, writing each other messages filled with love and tenderness. They believed that one day, fate will bring them together, but time passed, and the distance between them remained the same. Anna began to feel lonely and devastated. She missed Thomas, and dreamed of meeting him. The girl realized that without him, her life was just an empty existence. One day, she decided to surprise Thomas and see him in the city. Disregarding all conversations, having quarreled with her relatives, Anna packed her things and set off. Her heart beat harder as she approached the place where they were to meet. It was this day that brought them together. After the wedding, Thomas remained just as caring, tender, and passionate. Every night, they made passionate love, and in the morning, he would leave flowers on her nightstand and note, "Darling, I love you. I miss you every minute. I'm madly in love with your eyes and voice. You can't imagine how you mesmerize me. What magical feeling I have. I'm shamelessly happy with you. Forever your Thomas." In 15 years of matrimony, Anna had never had to complain about anything. Gosh didn't give them any children, but Thomas was just as hard and insatiable in bed, caring and close in spirit. Then she felt that their relationship seemed to burn out. The woman stopped getting joy from them. At this point in her life, she entered Damon. At first, Anna thought Fisher was picking up on her until she felt her boss's physical attraction to her. But she thought a man with such a doll-like appearance couldn't bring anything good into her life. However, she needed to be correct. Her prejudice prevented her from seeing him as a great lover and protector of her interests at the firm. She began flirting with her boss and didn't notice how she started to sympathize him. Well, he was handsome, tough, rapidly aging man, athletic figure, fashionably styled, manicured, and well-colored face, round with an even chubby chin, with a dimple in the middle, attentive gray eyes, sizable straight nose, luscious lips. Then Anna made her business outfit more frank, tried to speak softly to the chief, and often sat too close to the man. Every day she learned more about him and became genuinely attracted to Damon. It wasn't love, more like solid sympathy. It had been 2 years since they had been together. But it wasn't Anna that was on Damon's mind right now. He'd been at the lingerie store every night, trying to catch her daughter with her lover, and finally, he'd gotten lucky. He froze when he entered one of the fitting rooms and heard her daughter's voice. "Daddy?" came from the next stall in a girl's ringing voice. "I can't decide on a color. Help me." "Well, I seriously can't choose. I have to buy both, but I still want your opinion. You should see it. How thoughtful Sandra is and how generous King is." Damon pondered, looking at his reflection in a mirror. His face had turned purple. From behind the partition, there was another thought. "Well," Sandra giggled, "how do you like this one? Or is naked better?" "Daddy himself prefers his girl naked," the man said in low voice. Fisher's chin shook in the next stall, and his hands clenched into fists. He looked at himself in the mirror and didn't recognize himself. Damon was dumbfounded. He'd heard everything and was shaking with anger. "How do the green one and the black one fit? Or white, like the bride's?" Sandra asked playfully. "How does it fit?" "Not bad, but forget about marriage," answered the man in low voice, in which there was a hoarseness. "Daddy, does your trailer in front of your wife bother you?" "I'm better than that." "Be quiet for a minute, and don't tell me what to do." "What do you mean? Don't start, Tommy. Don't put me on the same level as that old lady. And stop texting her in front of me. Leave the phone alone. Leave the phone alone. Go to her then. Why did you call her today?" The girl snorted offensively. "Quiet, quiet," King shouted angrily at his mistress. "Turn around." "And so, am I better after all?" exclaimed Sandra. "Don't get distracted. Seduce and give," Thomas ordered sternly, and the walls of the partition began to vibrate. Fisher is crushed. He's unable to get up and walk out. Silently, He sits covering his face with his hands. After a few minutes, the noise from the neighbors subsides. All right, get your kids, let's go. Hey, you're stuck though, Sandra cooed. Come on, get your purchases to the register, King says, leaving the booth. The more's done his job, the more can go, said a girl's voice full of sarcasm. Stubborn uncle. I'm fed up with these daddies and their wives, she hisses through her teeth. And here I will take both of them. You will pay. You won't get poor. It's your wife, so let her wear cheap stuff. And I must be well paid. If you want a young body, you'll have to pay for it. Through the narrow seat, Damon watches his daughter emerge from the stall. A model-looking girl with a king's jacket slung casually over her shoulder. She is holding two sets of expensive lingerie. A tall brunette with a gorgeous makeup making his face look perfect. A voluminous sweep of lashes. A chiseled nose, half-open full lips. A wavy cascade of shiny black hair falling to firm round buttocks, covered with a fashionable white jeans. A trail of expensive and luscious perfume lingers behind her. With a vulgar, wagging gait, she walks from the fitting room to the checkout counter, where Thomas is waiting for her. Fisher wants to rush over her, punch King a claw at his smug face. He grabs his chest. It stings. He won't do anything. He thinks back to the amusement with his wife. Go out and throw accusations in her face? Turn Anna in? Frame himself? No. Another plan occurs to him. He goes to the cash register. The lovers are no longer here, he says in a firm voice. Give me a hint. A couple is walking away from you and they lost your name card in a fitting room. He handed it to the sale girls. Can I pass it on? Yeah, sure. They come in every weekend afternoon. Whether it's for lingerie or emotions, she chuckled. Damon felt dizzy, blood rushing to his temple, his heart ready to jump out of his chest. But he answered calmly, thank you. Leaving the store, he bought a bouquet of roses and called Anna. An hour later, they met in the hotel lobby and holding hands, went up to the room. Fisher realized that this meeting will be their last. He tried to be gentle with her, a young woman with the appetizing forms and fishnet lingerie, huge blue eyes mocking the situation. She had beautifully pouty lips, a small nose, the right facial shape, and blonde, white-collar hair just below her shoulder blades. Damon pressed his lips to hers and fell on the bed. An hour later, they were drinking champagne in bed and chatting about everything. Fisher casually dropped in. I saw Thomas around here today. He seems to have a very young mistress. What? Anna's eyes flashed angrily. Who is she? I don't know. Give me the address. The woman immediately became cold and approachable. Fisher called the store. Soon, only the slight scent of women's perfume remained in the room. That evening, the Fisher's family sat around the table. Sandra was throwing and he couldn't stand it. What's gotten into your head, girl? Did your lover leave you? Ruth turned white. Damon, are you crazy? Sandra blushed ear to ear and ran to her room. The next day, Fisher signed Anna's registration letter. Kings was leaving town in a hurry. He stepped out onto his office balcony and looked up at the sky. It was gloomy. It was going to rain. He called out to his secretary and told her to get her coffee. He also asked her to find a good private detective. Sandra will have a dad once she's married. He will make sure of that. Anna is George's, of course, but she is not the first or last woman in his life. His daughter is his only daughter, and he will do anything to make her happy. He is certainly not going to let any more older man take advantage of him. Fisher started cheating on Ruth and going on with other women right after the wedding. Why do I keep cheating on her? Why am I cheating on her? No, I just want newness, sensual explosions, the man thought. Do I need those fools so badly? A goddess is waiting for me at the home, the best of women, loyal as a dog. But how can I explain to her that sex and love are different? That those relationships don't mean anything to me? She's won't understand, he thought to himself. In the evening, his wife waited for him at home during the entire parade. Well, busy man, come to the table, Ruth called. It was lavishly said. Putting the salad on her husband's plate and gazing into his face, she asked, "Can I trust you? You love me, don't you?" Damon's eyebrows went up. "Why won't you ask me that? You know I do." He didn't even bat an eye. "All right, well, go ahead and pour the wine. Let's drink to love and fidelity." "You're getting a little carried away, Ruth. I don't like that kind of talk." They've had a drink. "Well, I will shut up. I will shut." Damon finished his salad. "That's how much I love you." Clean plate. He's clear. "Well, if that's the case." Ruth stood up, her head held high and proud, her hair loose and her hips swaying as she entered the bedroom. Fisher had been mesmerizing the whole time. He shook himself and followed his wife. As in fog, they embraced in the bedroom, their naked bodies touched and merged. Everything was as in the past, the demanding and tenderness, the frenzy of desire and synchronization of feelings. After a word, they leaned next to each other, resting, tired, but happy. "It's incredible," Ruth said thoughtfully. "What is?" "I'm still madly in love with you after all the times I've cheated on you." "What do you mean?" "Don't lie to me, Damon. I don't understand. You know, I will be honest. I've been waiting for you to realize who you are, and now you have to pay attention to me, right?" "You bet I do," Fisher laughed. "In fact, I admire you. You're the only one in need." He leaned over the woman with a happy face. "You're the eighth wonder of the world. There is no woman like you. You're beyond competition. And you are my happiness. No one can give it to me but you." And that's the truth, thought Ruth Fisher.